Mommy's with the maggots now.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Franchise Deep Dive with Jake and Josh, the podcast where we dive deep into all of your favorite and least favorite movie franchises, breaking down into the... Oh, I already fucked that up. God damn it. I'll go right back in. 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Franchise Deep Dive with Jake and Josh, the podcast where we dive deep into all of your favorite and least favorite movie franchises, giving you our thoughts and opinions on the individual films we discuss, as well as breaking into behind-the-scenes facts and trivia. I'm Jake.
And I'm Josh. And I think Jake tried to downplay that quote a little bit because he knows what I'm going to say about the delivery. So I think he did what he could to... Maybe I could give it to how it actually was delivered to emphasize who makes an appearance in this movie.
Uncredited cameo.
Mommy's with the maggots now. Because that's what happens.
That's actually so much better than my version of that, and way more accurate to the one that we get in the film.
So if anyone's confused what I mean when I say that, I like to joke that Owen Wilson makes an appearance in this movie because that line, I mean, you can't really convince me that he doesn't pop in for a cameo for voiceover work, because that, I mean, you heard it in the word now. It's the same way he says wow. It's him. We all know it. But yeah, so
well, either
what are we
way,
talking about
guys,
today, Jake?
We are closing out our Evil Dead franchise deep dive with the fifth and for now final Evil Dead movie entry, and that is Evil Dead Rise from 2023, directed by one Lee Cronin. Let me pull up the old stat sheet on this bad boy. Budget of between 14 and 19 mil and a box office of $147 million, Rotten Tomato score of 85% from critics and a 76% from audiences. So much more of a critical darling than Evil Dead 2013 remake, which was... The critics and audiences were a little bit more in line with that, but obviously lower scores overall. And there's not a ton of trivia or behind-the-scenes facts about this movie, as it being only 2 years old at this point. But I kind of mentioned on the last episode, one important thing to note is that the original plans were to continue with the characters, or specifically Jane Levy's character from Evil Dead 2013 remake, and at some point try to cross her over with Bruce Campbell's Ash from the Raimi original trilogy. But a lot of those plans ended up getting scrapped. We would never again see Mia from the 2013 remake, and what a lot of the second Army of Darkness, or the successor to Army of Darkness, would have been, a lot of that and those ideas ended up being in the Ash vs. Evil Dead show, which on the last episode we talked a little bit about. I've seen a little bit of it. Josh has seen none of it. And so maybe at some point in our lives, we will get to watching and finishing that, but maybe not. We'll see. We'll see how things go. But one thing to note is that originally this film was going to be a direct-to-streaming premiere for Warner Brothers and HBO Max, but after extremely positive test audience reactions, they ended up releasing it theatrically. And we don't say this about studios a lot, but they made a very, very smart move financially, because whether or not you like or dislike this film, it is the highest grossing film in the entire franchise by a wide margin. Even adjusted for inflation, it is not even close. So pretty cool little fact there, if you ask me.
That's crazy. I didn't know that. That's insane.
Yeah. I think Evil Dead 2 is the worst performing box office wise, as that I don't even think that made its money back, which is truly unfortunate.
Ain't that a shame?
Here we
it's
are.
Always the good ones that just don't get what they deserve.
Hey, I'm not mad that this movie made a lot of money. I'm not mad at all. But I wouldn't really bring up any of Lee Cronin's other work, as I can't really speak on it. I have not seen any of his other films, and it didn't seem like he had an extensive filmography before making this here Evil Dead film. But I will read the plot synopsis for the folks at home who have either not seen the film. Also, guys, full spoilers. We are going to talk about this film in depth, talk about the story and character beats and moments. So if you haven't seen the film and you care about spoilers, go check out the movie right now. It's streaming on HBO Max, and I think if you have Hulu, it's also on Hulu. But I could be wrong about the Hulu part, but I don't know. I watched it on HBO Max, but we'll pull up the synopsis, and then we'll just get right into this thing, get into the nitty-gritty. A twisted tale of two estranged sisters whose reunion is cut short by the rise of flesh-possessing demons, thrusting them into a primal battle for survival as they face the most nightmarish version of family imaginable.
Cool.
So that's fun.
Cool.
Yeah. That's...
I mean, one of the main pieces of trivia I just kind of want to throw out is just the comparison of how much blood was used. And to be honest, the amount that they used seems like a hell of a lot when you just think about it. 1,720 gallons of blood. It's measly compared to the 70,000. I just can't even, that just makes me even think about just how much money is 70,000 gallons of fake blood.
Oh, that had to be a big portion of their budget.
Oh my God. And
it was cool. I didn't get to mention it in the last episode, but in the behind the scenes, you actually see guys with they're just holding what looks like regular hoses that you would attach to a house, and they are just spewing blood everywhere, just like constantly, like in between takes. They just like wouldn't stop.
Man,
so I thought that was pretty
funny.
What
do you think cleanup was like? I should have asked that when we were talking about the episode, but real quick, like, what do you think cleanup was like on that? I don't even want to think about it.
All I know is that whoever got paid to clean it up did not get paid enough. That is for damn sure. You'd have to offer me a big ass check to get me to do that shit. But
so yeah, I mean 1,700 gallons sounds like a lot to me, you know, but 70,000 is nuts.
It's still more than the original by a significant amount. If you go by the statistic from last episode, which was, I believe it was between 200 and 300 gallons in the original, and I didn't read any facts about two or three, so I'm unsure about that. But yeah, so that was another one of my trivia facts as well that I had read up. Thought that was kind of interesting in comparison to our previous episode on the 2013 remake. But again, guys, the film is only 2 years old. It's a modern day horror sequel. There is really not a lot about it. I did find one thing interesting, and it's that actress Alyssa Sutherland, who plays one of the lead sisters of the film, Ellie, who is the mother of three in the film. She modeled a lot of her performance for her deadite version of herself after Jim Carrey's performance in The Mask. So I thought that was kind of fun. Yeah.
I don't even... Can you pinpoint where you might see the influence?
I think she has a lot of pretty chaotic body movements in this, I'd say. That's probably the most, like, the physical performance, I guess, strikes me as similar the most. Like, she's very theatrical in this. Like, the way her body contorts and moves. At the one point, she kind of crawls after the kids. It's very theatrical in a sense, and so maybe that part, I guess.
What an odd character to base this character off of. That's interesting.
Yeah, an interesting choice, but I don't know if you have any more trivia facts or if you just want to segue into the discussion for this one, as I didn't read anything else interesting about this movie.
That much about this one, so I'm kind of ready to go into it.
Yeah. All right, well, that's a perfect segue, because I think that something that I really enjoy about this movie is, I think, very similar to Evil Dead 2013, and I guess by extension all the Evil Dead movies, is I really like the two leads in this movie. I really like Alyssa Sutherland as Ellie, and I forget the actress's name, but the actress who plays Beth, the younger sister in the film, who kind of takes on that heroine role, that lead character, protagonist role in the second half of the film. I thought both of them worked really well together. I liked their dynamic as sisters. I like how her life is kind of falling apart in one way, and then you have the other one whose life is changing significantly in another way, and they're kind of brought into this situation together. And I think for me, I'm not sure how you feel about this, I'd love to get your thoughts on it, but the drama in this film from an emotional standpoint and a character standpoint, I think works a lot better and is at least more thoroughly explored in this film than in the 2013 remake, which I know you had issues with the characters and the kind of written in drama in that film. So I'm curious to get your thoughts on the drama in this one.
So I think this one, I think it's a better attempt at the characters, and I think overall, they're I would say they're stronger. I'm not. I kind of only like Alyssa Sutherland in this movie. I don't care for what's her name, Lily Sullivan. Kind of sound a little similar in the names, but yeah, I don't care for Beth's character in terms of like, not so much the character. I don't care for the performance. I'm not too big on the like. She's very like monotone in this whole movie. It just doesn't. It doesn't do anything for me. So I like Ellie in this. I think she's doing a lot of good. Everyone else is fine. I think the kids are all right. I think the little girl, what's her name, Cass, she's kind of doing everything she can as for that young. I don't mind her.
Yeah, of course.
The other ones are fine. Like they're just fine. I appreciate bringing this new level of dynamic to a group of characters, so I appreciate that you're bringing in, like, it's not just a group of friends. You kind of have like more emotional stakes in this. I appreciate that. Yeah, I don't know this. All right, so I'm gonna sound nitpicky for some of this episode, maybe a lot of it. I don't know. You take that with what you will. Kind of the backstory of the husband leaving. I don't think you need it. I think we can just understand that this is a single mom. I just don't think it adds much for me. But again, like I said in the last one, I appreciate the attempt. So overall, I like that they bring just a freshness to their main cast. So I'll kind of leave it at that. But the main survivor girl, I don't care for as much as I care for like Jane Levy's character in the remake. And when I compare it to Ash, you can't compare it to Ash. I mean, everyone loves Ash. I don't know. I wish there was a little bit more of a like stronger overall character for me. So I don't know.
That's interesting because whereas I agree, I think in both films we can agree that we appreciate the attempt. I think the character stuff again works a lot more for me in this film. And whereas I do like the sort of bait and switch that the 2013 remake does with making you think that David, the brother, is the Ash, the sole surviving protagonist of the film, only to pull that bait and switch at the end and then make it so that he dies, sacrificing himself so that the now resurrected Mia can survive. I do wish that in that film they had explored some of that interpersonal drama a little bit more, whereas I guess I just don't agree in this film. Like, sure, if you want to call it unnecessary drama, that's fine. I think the way that they handle the whole idea of the father leaving, I think that aspect is incorporated in pretty well because it I think it ties into Beth's character nicely, and I think I like where it starts these characters off because whereas the rift in the relationships in the previous film felt a little bit forced and kind of crowbarred in at times, I think in this film they do a better job, and I think it's just a part of having better actors and actresses in this film, and maybe they're just written a little bit cleaner in this one. But the way that they interact, it feels like there is that kind of pre-established history with the characters, and I like incorporating the whole father leaving, and then you have that scene that I think is pretty great between Beth and Ellie, where she's like, I did call you. I wanted you to be here. I wanted to tell you. I called the night that he ended things, and then I called the night that he left. And you're already starting off these characters on a bit of a, tumultuous area. And I think that's an interesting setup for these characters. And then you combine that with Beth in the film being pregnant at the beginning, finding out that she's pregnant and carrying a child, and putting her into this protector, motherly role in the film, I just think is a cool, interesting way to explore that. Again, you could say from a perspective, it's an Evil Dead movie. I don't need them to try to develop characters in that sort of way. I'm there for the blood, the gore, the over-the-top nature, and that's fine. But again, with these newer Evil Dead films, I think I just appreciate, and again, in this one works a lot better for me, just that attempt to give you characters that have something to them. Yeah, we like Ash. Ash is fun. He's got the fun one-liners. It's really fun to see the way his character progresses over that original Raimi trilogy. But in this film, and somewhat in the 2013 remake, I like that we're getting characters that are, at least they're trying to make them feel like real people and not just fodder to be turned into deadites. And again, whether it works for you or not, I think it comes down to a lot of personal preference. But in this one, I like putting Beth into that protector role, and I like the way that actress. Sure, she's a little monotone, I guess, towards the beginning, but I think that her personality comes out a little bit more in the second half of the film when shit really starts to hit the fan. But that's just my I guess experience with the film.
I get it. I get how this can work. I'm not even saying it doesn't work in terms of like the the overall movie and plot itself. It's fine. It's fine. How do you feel about the new location?
I love it. I think when you are in the fifth film in a franchise, one that has had a little bit of fun at times, really only Army of Darkness, that's really the only one that's kind of broken away from the cabin in the woods set piece. I like that we're taking it to a different route. And sure, you can draw comparisons to like Jason Takes Manhattan. And I remember when Scream 6 was coming out, people have this sort of aversion to horror films being set in a city setting. But to me, it really works, and I do like the way it's incorporated in this film. I like how the reason that they find these records is because there's an earthquake. Anyone who's ever lived in a city knows that an earthquake in the city is unbelievably terrifying, and I like that it's kind of like a fake out scare, because it does remind me of that first Evil Dead movie, where there's a lot of like red herring fake scares at the beginning of that film before they get to the actual threat in the cabin. And in this film, you kind of have that real similar intro threat with the whole earthquake thing. And I love the incorporation of the son being really into music and music producing. And the whole reason that the tapes end up getting, not even tapes in this one, it's vinyls. You get these recordings on the vinyls. And I love, it's kind of funny and campy to me that he sees these old ass vinyls and records and says, yeah, I could probably get some sick samples off of these. And that's what ends up unleashing this demonic evil on his family. I don't know. I thought it was a cool setting, and I'd love to bring up in a minute, after I get your thoughts on the whole setting. I love the opening 7 minutes. We haven't really addressed how this film opens or before the whole title card drops. I'd love to get into that, but before we do, what do you feel about the setting? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Or
I was excited for it. For me, it felt like I might as well just be kind of like in the cabin. I think aside from taking it to the hallways, some of it, and the elevator and the garage, which is only a small portion, I think the majority of this movie, I don't like how contained it is, because I feel like, first off, there's a lot of shots of this being a high rise. They put a lot of emphasis on this being a high rise, where I feel like you could have done a lot of fun things, explored how high up they are, and like maybe go into different floors or incorporate more like tenants in the building. I mean, you get like 4 probably, and I don't know. It's like as the amount of people that turn into deadites, it's like the same amount, if not less, than the previous films. It's like the same. How is it only like 3? And I'm not even counting like the end where they decide to just become deadites like after hours, but the kids become deadites like almost instantly. I don't get it. There's just some things that don't make sense to me in this movie also, like that. But it just felt like a missed opportunity for having a lot of fun with it. And it feels like it takes that similar approach of being so contained and claustrophobic. And I feel like I've been there before. It's just in an apartment. The apartment feels like the cabin. It just does. I like some of the stuff they do with the eye hole. I think the initial sequences with that, I think that is bringing a level of like creativity to their area. I just needed more. I wanted more. How you do it, I don't know. I told Jake, I said, maybe you have, I mean, I thought I think if they brought Ash into this, it could have been fun, because this is a sequel, so I think it works. But I'm fine with that. You want to do your core characters and have them be different, that's fine. Figure out a way where they somehow explore it. Don't come up with like the elevator being destroyed and the fire escape being like not like a means of an escape. Figure it out where they can go like down to each floor, or I don't know, just explore it in some way that's just not their apartment. Which, side note to the apartment, I know this is a broken down building and they stress that enough. This is a big ass apartment. It is huge.
It's a nice apartment. Yeah.
This kid's room is a studio.
Yeah.
I can't tell if they're poor or not. Maybe it's cheap because it's a rundown building.
And is she a tattoo artist? I feel like they make decent money. Like if you're a well-known tattoo artist, I don't know. I know she's doing like tattoo stuff.
You're supposed to feel like they're a struggling family because she's a single mom. But dude, this place is awesome. Like their apartment is just really nice.
I don't think that's ever the implication.
Oh, well,
that they're supposed to be struggling. I think she's just getting divorced. Her husband left her, and the apartment's getting destroyed, and she has to find a new place. Like those are like natural struggles. I don't think it's ever portrayed like they're supposed to be like some super poor family, but maybe I just didn't read that personally. But no, like listen, I can totally see where your arguments are coming from and where your criticism lies with, I guess, to you, the underutilization of the location. To me, I think I got just enough out of it. I like the switch up. Again, I kind of mentioned how the inciting incident of them finding the vinyls and the book. And I love the redesign of the book. I love how it's got like, it's enclosed. It's kind of like tied shut by teeth. Yeah. You got a cool like insert shot and the sound design. And that's another thing I absolutely adored in this film. I love the sound design. Just little moments. It opening up with the iconic fly.
Like when she climbs out of the tub, you hear her nails. Like, I do appreciate some of their like sound design. Yeah,
also. There's some really crisp sound design. Sorry, I saw you putting your hand up. I wasn't sure if you were telling me.
Oh no, I was doing her tub, the nails going on the tub.
Yeah, but no, like the tub. I love opening up with that fly noise. I love towards the beginning of the film in that extended opening sequence where when the girl gets scalped, you get just a really nice, crisp, disgusting noise of her scalp getting ripped off. Even the scene in the elevator, which is a scene that I thought was a really great modernization of the forest attack scene in the previous installments of this franchise. I thought it was a fun, really interesting new way to do that kind of sequence, having it be the wires from the elevator attack her. And that's another scene where it starts with just the earring in her ear getting ripped out by that demonic force, and just that little like whipping noise just sounded really visceral. And then towards the end of that sequence when the wires are twisting and contorting her body, and I think it snaps her leg in half, and that crunch, just again really crisp sound design.
Do you like the editing in that, like all the cutting happening in that? Because I know you're big on lingering on shots.
No, because I thought as a whole the editing and cuts in this film were so much better handled than the 2013 remake. I never noticed a sequence. Yeah. Because there's like a sequence like that, there is hyper editing in the original as well. It is supposed to be like a chaotic scene. I just thought how overly done it was in every scene of the 2013 remake really held back the cinematography and the visuals of the movie, whereas I almost have no complaints with the editing and cinematography in this film. I think like you brought up the fisheye shot through the eye hole. That's a really great little bit. You know me, I love a split diopter shot, and they do that a couple times in the film. But
do they ever? They do it like at least 4 times, and I only like it. It's I've had enough with split diopters. If like they do it like 5 times. I don't see the reason for it. You can't just in my eyes you can't just throw a split diopter every other scene. I only really get it when it first happens, like when she's making the eggs, which I don't even like that. I don't even like that scene. You know, at a certain point they don't do much for me.
No, that's fair. And I'm not just saying just because you throw in a split diopter, but it was kind of just getting into my point about the visuals as a whole in this film. What's nice is that I feel like you do have some Raimi-isms. You do have some tracking shots and some camera movements that do remind you of that original Evil Dead film, and by extension Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness. So there are some moments that do feel inspired by Raimi, but I also feel like this film has its own visual identity, and that was something that I thought was kind of also lacking in the 2013 film, whereas there were moments that did feel Raimi-esque in that, but aside from that, it didn't really felt like it stood on its own. Whereas there's a nice attention to detail in this film when it comes to insert shots and how they're cut and kind of strung into the film, as well as some really nicely symmetrical shots, which was kind of new and fun for the franchise in a way that, yes, there are some symmetrical shots throughout the Raimi trilogy, but not in the way where the kind of subject of the shot is framed in the middle of the shot. Like there was a lot of times in this, the opening, for example, when you see that really, for some reason, aesthetically pleasing triangle cabin in the woods at the beginning of the film before we kind of get to our main characters, which, again, I'd love to know how you feel about that whole opening. I checked it. It's 7 minutes. It's a 7-minute sequence before you get the title drop and the focus shifts to our main characters of the film. I really love the opening. But there's that. When you first see the apartment for the first time, you get this nice, like, panning up symmetrical shot where the building's kind of in the center of the frame and stuff. So, yeah, I just thought, like, visually, it was nice to see, like, references and clear inspirations from that original Raimi trilogy, but also have its own voice in the cinematography and blocking of the film. But, yeah.
So my thoughts on the opening?
Yeah. How do you feel about the opening of the film?
I love the title card shot. I like that. I think it looks good.
Awesome. Yeah.
Overall,
really awesome.
though, like in this movie, I don't like it. I don't like the opening and I don't like the end. It doesn't work. I don't think it needs to be in there. I don't know. That just felt like let's give a little bit of like that camp aesthetic for the opening and let's tie it into the apartment complex. I hate the ending. I really hate the ending. Pisses me off. And yeah, I think the opening looks good. I don't think it's there's much of a problem within the opening itself. I do not like it for this film. I think you could have taken that time and just keep it on them, their setting. I don't think you need to tie in unrelated characters. The only relation is that she shares the complex with her. It just doesn't feel important to me. So it felt like an opening to have an opening to connect the end, just to do a little, like, I don't know, a little.
I looked at it as like a subversion, in my opinion. Like, you start, imagine not knowing at all what this film is about. You haven't seen any trailers or anything, and then you go into it or you start watching it and you're like, okay, this is familiar. I've seen something like this before. It's what you're used to with the Evil Dead franchise. You're used to being, again, outside of Army of Darkness, you're used to being at this cabin in the woods aesthetic. And so I think you get there and you meet these characters and you go through that whole sequence, and then it's like, oh, no, psych, actually, this film isn't set in this cabin in the woods. And then we cut to the whole city aesthetic and all of that stuff. And so to me, it didn't feel like, oh, just to have a bookend. I just took it as, hey, we're going to give a little bit of what you are familiar with, what you know, what you've come to be used to with a franchise like this. And we're just going to kind of flip it on its head a little bit, but not in like an overly obnoxious way. If this whole sequence would have taken up like 15, 20 minutes of screen time, kind of like the Friday the 13th, 2009 remake does, where it just spends entirely too long on those characters, then I would have more of a problem with it. But 7 minutes of screen time, I'm more than okay with it. But I get the frustration and feeling like it's not necessary.
Plus the ending, which is of another few minutes, like 3 to 5 minutes, probably 3 minutes overall.
Yeah, I'd say 3 minutes if that.
Got a total of 10 minutes right there. That's precious time that could be, put into.
It doesn't hurt. Yeah, it doesn't hurt the film for me.
And
I don't mind.
And if it's doing it for the sake of like just of like averting my attention.
Yeah.
I that doesn't work for me. It's like maybe fun, sure, but
I just don't see it as a negative in the film. I don't see what it really drags down. I mean, you could say it's unnecessary, but that's fine. If this was also a longer film, I think there would be a problem. But it to me, it's very brisk. It's very kind of short-lived. But getting into more things I'd just like to know like what you think about the visuals in this film, because from the way that you kind of brought up the editing, it seems like maybe the editing is still not very tight for you in this film.
No, you were
just
talking
how
about
like
that
the
scene.
visuals are.
You were talking about the elevator scene, and I noticed it cut a lot. Other than that, I don't have a problem with this movie visually. I really don't. I think it looks good. I think there are like that some of the hallway stuff. I really like how it looks. I like the eye hole stuff. My issue is also some of the pacing for me, and the deadite herself, and I wish I didn't have to say deadite because you only get one, really. Like, yeah, you get the kids, but like, all right, yeah, so there's deadites, but it's the main focus is her, and she doesn't feel like I feel like I'm getting a very traditional, like modern take on like the demonic possession. That's what it feels like. So okay, she comes in, she's first possessed. I hate how slow things are moving. It's at first sure, but it happens throughout the film. There doesn't feel like there's that much intensity. And it's random. There's like a lot of start stop for me. So she comes in, she's making eggs. Don't know why. I don't know if that's supposed to be like creepy. It wasn't creepy to me. I know they really dwelled on it in the trailer, so that was like a big part they wanted to show. It doesn't really. That's not how I think a deadite would be. So that whole scene, and then everyone's just like staring. There's just a lot of staring. You kind of, at a certain point, there's something fucking wrong with your mom, you know. And don't get me started with the little girl. You could say she's a little girl. I don't think I'd ever be that dumb, even as like a 4-year-old, when she lets her in. That annoys me. And I don't know what the defense is for that. Just fucking like look at her. I'd be scared shitless. I'd be scared shitless if my mom looked like that. I wouldn't even want to look in the eye hole. I would run away and say, "Hey Beth, I'm scared."
No, I get it. Again, though, like it's tough because I don't do the whole put myself in that situation. Also, I'm not a time traveler, so it's hard for me to be like, yeah, as a little child, I would react this way. As an audience member, as an audience member though, like it's a kid who's like watching their mom go through this slow demonic possession. So it doesn't bother my suspension of belief that much to be like, yeah, this little girl could get manipulated by her mom. I don't think that's outside the realm of belief.
So what I wish is that we're in the Evil Dead series. I've seen it happen before. Just let Ellie become normal. Let her normalize herself, cleaned up. Like Ash's girlfriend does that. You know, just let me buy into Cass being tricked. I don't buy into it. It really like it takes me out of these like decisions that happen. So what I mean about like the start stop is that like when Ellie comes in, it's very slow. There's like I feel like in the other Evil Deads I would get like you would kind of like get to a point where it's like, okay, let's ramp up the chaos. And she gets like stabbed a few times where it's like every single time she gets stabbed and it's like, oh, that it's done. Let's slow things down again. Oh, she comes back like 2 minutes later and like gets on top of Beth, stabs her again. It's like a lot of that like start, stop, repeat kind of thing. She's pretty intense with the neighbor. When he comes in, she like, you know, eats his eye. But we're not getting that with the family. It seems like they
Fun fact, the sound effect when she bites his eyeball out in the hallway, that is apparently an audio file of Bruce Campbell aggressively biting into an apple.
Nice. Ew.
Yeah. It sounds I love that scene though, because then she spits it out into the other person's mouth. Yeah, that's to me that felt very like reminiscent of like something you'd see in like Evil Dead 2 or Army of Darkness, like that little bit of like gross out grotesque comedy. So I thought that was kind of fun.
Doesn't that happen in Evil Dead 2 with the eyeball?
Yeah. They do the eyeball trick. I think they do. I think Raimi does something similar in Multiverse of Madness, but it's been a minute since I've seen that. So, but no, listen, I totally get where your criticisms are coming from. But to me, at least personally, when watching this and the Evil Dead remake from 2013 kind of in quick succession with each other, I think that this film, the Evil Deads, they're definitely a lot meaner and nastier, kind of in a similar vein to the 2013 ones. But also they had a little bit more of that shitbaggery that the originals had, where a lot of the times they're just fucking with you and doing whatever they can to just get on your nerves and get under your skin. Like, I love the scene when the one daughter is, she's turned now, she's a deadite, and she's on the counter, and Beth walks in, and she's like, I think she's like swallowing razors or something
she's
of that sort.
The wine glass.
Yes, she's eating the wine glass, and you know, you get that nice crispy sound design with the crunching of the glass, and it's just like a gross out visual to begin with. But she has some line to Beth, again, who just found out that she's pregnant, and she's like, I don't like having things in my tummy. Do you, Aunt Beffy? And it's like, oh, fuck. Like, this deadite is just being a fucking asshole. Like, she's struggling with the idea of being a mom and doesn't know if she'd be a good mother. And this deadite is just poking fun at her. And it's a lot more reminiscent of what, like, an Evil Dead feels like to me than something like in the 2013 one, where the extent of their lines are like, oh, your sister's getting raped in hell. Like, that feels more like a Pazuzu line than a Deadite line. Deadites, to me, and maybe I'm just misremembering what the original trilogy is like, but they feel more like they're trying to fuck with you, like a needle getting under your skin, rather than like a big puncture wound through a knife, if that makes any sense. But I liked the Evil Dead Deadites in this Evil Dead movie more than the 2013 one. They were more reminiscent of the originals, if you ask me.
I agree with some of their lines. However, some of their lines I didn't like. Like when I hate that Ellie says stinking when she calls her a stinking groupie slut.
See, that seems like something a Deadite would say.
It doesn't seem as vile, because there's other lines that are more like vulgar. I don't know, using stinking,
not even
like a very
not even
PG
vulgarity.
Word.
Yeah, not even vulgarity. Like, just the way that Deadites are in the original. Like, one of the best lines is when they're making fun of, I forget which character in the original, and they're like, come on, give me a kiss, lover boy, or whatever. Like, that's...
Yeah.
Like, or when they're just mocking Ash, where they're like, you're not going to leave me here, Ash. Are you, Ash? When they're making fun of Scotty in the original. So it's not that these characters are always vulgar. It's that at times they're just trying to fuck with you. And I think that element
it's replacing a vulgar
incorporated
word
better
with like
in
a
this.
very, like, with a very PG word. And I don't know why.
It didn't bother me, I guess. It didn't take me out of it too much. But
let me ask you this. What did bother you in this movie? Because I'm saying some things I liked and a lot of things I didn't like. I need to know what you didn't like.
No, it's not a perfect movie. I think at times some of the music is a little overbearing and a little manipulative. Like, it takes me out of the experience. I do feel like this film had a primed opportunity to get more into the comedy of the previous Evil Dead movies, whereas the 2013 one took itself very serious. I think this could have set itself apart by leaning more into the comedy. And while I did love some of like the gross out humor and the gross out violence of it all with all the blood and everything, I wish it was more blood, but you know, for what it is, I enjoyed it. But no, in terms of things I didn't like, what did I not like? I think that some of the dialogue and delivery of the dialogue from the kids and the teenage actors was pretty weak at times. And this is something, I may like how the Deadites look and act in this movie, but in this film and the 2013 remake, I'm not sure if I said it on that episode, I don't love the very auto-tuned vocal effect that they have. Like, I think that lends into your issue with the whole character sounding like Owen Wilson thing, where I think that actress is giving a great performance and she's really giving it her all in that moment, but they add this like weird digital vocal effect. And one thing that I noticed too, especially through looking at behind the scenes featurettes, is the Deadites in this film have a lot of practical effects going on, a lot of prosthetics and everything on their face and on their body and whatnot. But then I noticed that while watching the film, they had that prosthetic there and they had the good look, but then they would add a bit of CGI over it. And I was like, I don't think you need the CGI. Like, I think if you just let it play out with the prosthetics, I think it might look even creepier. I mean, maybe it looks like shit and I'm talking out my ass, but just my opinion. I think it would have looked better had they left out the CGI blood. But, you know, some things that you brought up to me before we started recording, the references to the original, I could probably do without. I don't need her to stumble upon a chainsaw in the climax of the movie down in the parking garage. I don't really need that.
Yeah.
And yeah, like, I'm not going to say that your criticism of them not fully exploring the whole apartment aesthetic and setting thoroughly or more. Yeah, they probably could have. I think that definitely holds the movie back a little bit. I don't think any of these negatives are enough to completely detract from my enjoyment of the film, and I think what the film does well outweighs the negatives. I think I think there's some pretty good effective scares in the movie. You know, if they don't work for you, they don't work for you. I found myself, I did watch this alone pretty late at night by myself in my living room, so maybe that added to the overall scare effect. But I felt pretty creeped out by some of the scenes. Again, I think they used that sound design very, very prominently and very well. Like, I don't know about you, but I had a gut reaction of the scene when they take the cheese grater to Beth's leg and just grate her leg like that.
Yeah,
that
that's one of
feels,
my
again,
favorite things that they
reminiscent.
do.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
and that is original. Like that little detail. Whereas like I don't think you need to reuse the eyeball. I don't think you need to reuse the lines. I didn't like it in 2013, so I'm not gonna like make
Yeah.
excuses for that and not say it about this. They reuse like a couple lines, and like kind of like notable lines like come get some, like that's Ashes. Do something that's your own. Like create your own hero where they feel like they're their own person. I don't need, to me,
yeah.
maybe I noticed the fan service more in this, and not even just from Evil Dead, but from other horror movies. I mentioned they do the Shining thing with the elevator. They do the thing where they kind of all come together as one giant creature. It didn't. I like the idea more than the execution. I didn't think it looked that good. I kind of hate that there's a wood chipper in there. Like that just feels convenient. I buy into the cabin setting because there's a tool shed. There's a chainsaw. I believe that they have access to this stuff. So some of it just felt very convenient, and I don't get when the earthquake happens and they go down and they say it's a bank vault. It's like an old bank. But then I don't know why. I don't really understand all this, like these religious artifacts in there. I didn't really get how it was almost like it was like a mix of like a church or like, I don't know, but it was a bank. I don't know like what that was really doing in there. So it just,
Yeah.
so I don't know. For me, this movie, I feel like had a lot more potential than I got out of the execution. I feel bored watching this. I can't imagine I'm really
Really?
going to watch it. Yeah, I'm not. I'm just bored.
Yeah.
And I think it's because I don't get a lot of those fun parts. So much of the movie when Ellie is in there is a lot of like slow walking and like taunting, but like taunting like there's one part where she's like she does like a little fake out to Beth, and I feel like at some point she's not as ruthless to the family as much as she is, say, the neighbors. And I don't know if that's just to keep them alive longer. I mean, I get the kids. I like that the kids die. That sounds awful,
Yeah.
but I like that they
No,
don't hold
no.
back on that.
Adds
But
stakes to the movie. Yeah, you feel like stuff happened.
it gets better. It gets better to me when she's out in the hallway, and I just don't know why it takes a long time to get there. For me, I looked at the time. It was like a half hour when she first gets possessed in the elevator. It's like 36
Interesting,
minutes
yeah.
when she first or 33 minutes when she first comes in, and I'm like, okay, finally we're starting, and it's like a slog. These scenes where it's like she's just like throwing eggs in there. I don't know why she's doing that, and then she like passes out, and then they bring her to her room, and it's like 45 minutes now she attacks the neighbors, and that's like where things like actually escalate. So it just takes a long time for me, and that's where I just said the pacing was off to me.
No, that's interesting. I guess I just don't personally feel that way. That was I had kind of the opposite experience while watching it. Like, I don't know, something about the viewing clicked this time, because if you would have asked me like a couple months back, I probably would have said that I enjoyed the 2013 remake and didn't really like Rise as much. But this viewing around with both of them, I was just a lot more locked in right from the get-go with this Evil Dead Rise film. I found it pretty intense at times. Something about, because in the original film there is this, it is scary, and there are these moments where it's like, oh, this is my friend, I'm losing my friends. But there's something I find very gripping and interesting in Rise about it being the mother to be the first one possessed. And just, I think, you call it staring. To me, we always talk about reactions on this podcast, and I just love the reaction that Beth and the three kids have when Ellie turns into a deadite for the first time. And just the look of horror on their face, I think, is really great. And sure, some of the line delivery isn't where it needs to be for the kids' performances. But I think one thing that all three of the kids did a pretty damn good job at is effectively showcasing fear and being scared. There wasn't many times in the film where, horrifying things were happening to this family where the kids didn't look like they were absolutely petrified. So, and when the sister and brother, when they're both turned into deadites, I thought they did some pretty fun stuff with that. I believed it, at least, like, it didn't take me out of the film. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I just didn't have issues with the pacing. I thought the film moved at a pretty quick rate. I like that outside of the opening film, it is a sort of bottle film with one location. And like we talked about, like you had said and highlighted, they probably could have done more with the location. I thought it was cool that they are trapped in this high rise of this building. You can't escape because of an earthquake. So like the flood, you have like a very realistic reason for why they can't just leave their location and why they're trapped. So it does add that kind of claustrophobia. But yeah, I don't know. From start to finish, I was pretty locked in this film. I think the performances could be better. Sure, some of the dramatic elements probably could have been explored a little bit further, and maybe instead of that opening 7 minutes, maybe they take that time to develop these characters a little bit more. But it sounds like that probably would have just added to the slog for you, especially if you didn't really buy into these characters or their dynamic or established relationships. So that might have just hurt the film more for you, but
maybe.
Who knows?
The ending, you want to talk about not buying into something? What's her name? Ashley, the one that gets possessed in the beginning?
I believe so, yeah.
Ashley, and I'm pretty sure she's on the same floor because when she goes in the elevator, it like lingers on the same light, like emergency light. So she's on the same floor. And you know what? Maybe if she was a heavy sleeper, I could see her maybe sleeping through this. She makes it a point to say, "Oh man, that thunderstorm just kept me up all night. I didn't get any sleep." You didn't really notice your whole building getting like destroyed, the hallways just being I hate ending on her. I wished you kind of just ended on your hero.
That's fair.
So didn't work for me.
That's it. And that's fair. And like, I don't disagree with most of your criticisms. I guess they didn't hit me as hard.
Like, why does it take so long? Have fun with the neighbors being deadites. Have them all like turn earlier the way the kids do. I don't get why they turn as soon as they go in the hallway and she's like getting his gun. Then he becomes one. So,
I mean, I think that's just in line with the franchise, though. They've always been very sporadic and loose on when people get possessed by these characters. It seems very just kind of random and infrequently consistent. So
it felt redundant to me. I feel like that's a location where you have a bunch of different people. So have fun with it.
Sure.
And it didn't feel like they were having as much fun as I wish they did.
Yeah, no, I could definitely see that. I mean, hey, I'm always down for more deadites. So a whole floor or multiple floors full of deadites, I think could have been pretty.
Did you
fun,
like the one deadite with like the thing? Did you like that? Yeah.
Yeah, I guess to me, I'm much more bothered by egregious, like over the top references that just insult my intelligence, whereas the whole elevator full of blood thing, I think it's used in a different way. I think the idea of them... First off, I thought that scene was pretty claustrophobic and intense because the idea of drowning in general freaks me out, but the idea of drowning in blood is like next level horror, terrifying scenes for me. But especially since it's a little girl, like I don't want to see a little girl drown in blood. Not to say just having a kid makes the scene immediately terrifying, but... No, and so, like, yeah, is that an homage to The Shining? Sure, but are we going to nitpick a lot of Tarantino movies for his homage to Federico Fellini or some other Western director? I think, to me, when the accomplishments and the technical aspects outweigh some story nitpicks and some story beats that may have not panned out correctly, I'm more okay. Like, in 2013, the biggest issue is that you're just reusing lines, and yes, in this one they do use it, but to me it's not as many. Like the references are a little bit more subtle. Like I don't know if we pointed out, but one of the Easter eggs is the kids go out to get pizza, and they go and they get in the pizza place, it's named Henrietta's Pizza, which is like a reference to Evil Dead 2. The cabin owner, his wife's name is Henrietta. She's the one who busts out and chases after Ash. But to me, the whole references and homages to Evil Dead films
I'm fine with
and previous
background
other horror
references,
films,
I think.
yeah,
like I'm fine with
it's
that.
just so like I don't know, an elevator of blood. Like I don't think that's exclusive to The Shining. It's not like it's not like just using that exact scene. They're kind of putting their own little spin on it. It's not like Ready Player One where they just literally show like a fucking elevator, with blood flowing out of it. I don't know. I get the criticisms, but to me, at least the references and Easter eggs were not nearly as egregious as the 2013 film, where you're just kind of getting half-ass line deliveries that are of the previous movies, but just done worse. And even though I thought it looked good, the whole trees and forest attacking her, it's just the same as the original and the second film. Whereas this one, it's a similar kind of attack, but I like the spin on it. It feels a little bit fresher and it feels a little bit more horrifying, especially with, again, that sound design and Alyssa Sutherland just doing a really great job with her physical performance, especially in this movie. But
yeah, I think I guess it's interesting that they just took out branches and did wires, but other than that, it's the same thing to me. I feel like when this movie gets creative, that's when it's pulling from other things. So that's what I'm saying when I've said I don't feel creativity in this movie that much. And I think as a sequel, as a remake, I don't really want to say I forgive it more, but as a remake, I understand where you kind of pull from the original. As a sequel, if you're doing that, I'm going to hold you a little bit more accountable. I expect, and I don't think the remake is that good. I think these are pretty on par with each other in my eyes.
That's fair.
No,
I think my final sentiment or thoughts on it are just, I don't think it's an amazing movie. I think I really enjoy it, and I think it's more than competently made. I enjoy a lot of the creative decisions behind it. And for me, when it comes to paying homage or pulling from other art, I think all art across every media format, whether it's books, music, film, TV, all of that sort of stuff, I think everything pulls from something else. Very few things are completely wholly original ideas. And for me, a new setting, a new dynamic between the protagonists of the film, and it having a lot of references to Raimi's visual style, but still standing on its own in terms of like cinematography and blocking choices, way more than the 2013 film, I think definitely elevates it above that remake for me. I don't like this as much as any of the original trilogy. Let me go on record and say that. But as a whole, as a fifth sequel, a very late sequel to an early 80s classic, I think it's more than competently done. And yeah, for me, it did enough original. Sure. But like at that point, when you're making that argument, you're just playing like the what if game or the I want more game, because it's like, well, yeah, they took this scene and they changed this and that and this, but it's still kind of that. But if they changed all those things, to me, it's not just that. So that's where I stand, at least on the film as a whole.
I'm curious.
I enjoyed it a lot.
I'm curious when you first saw this, like, because you said you used to have this at like a 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
I'm curious what you didn't like compared to now, like more, like what other things you didn't like then that you don't mind now.
I think this time around, short answer, I think this time around I just appreciated the filmmaking a lot more, and I don't remember enjoying this dynamic between the whole mother and the three kids as much. And maybe, I don't know, it just, this time it clicked a lot more. I was a lot more locked into the entire experience and enjoyed it a lot more this time around. And I don't think it's just fun. I think it does have a decent amount to offer. And if the drama doesn't work for you and the scares don't work for you, I totally get this is not a film that I hold in super high regard to where I'm like, I don't get somebody not liking this. So I'm not that passionate about it.
I'm still in the back of my head thinking of my score, because I'm ready to get into ratings. I have a lot of notes here, but it's gonna be just a lot of like probably me repeating myself, so I don't want to get.
I think we covered the highlights and the hits and misses of this movie, and I'm not even in, like I said, I'm not even in huge disagreement with a lot of your criticisms. I think they just don't hit me as hard as
they're not.
As
they
do
don't
you.
weigh it down as much as it does for me. It's just like yeah.
No, that's totally fair. That's totally fair. Would you
would
you like to go first?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Well, let's hear it, buddy. What are you giving Evil Dead Rise?
I'm gonna be maybe a little nicer than I was going into it. I'm gonna land on a. Oh, don't get excited.
I never do.
Looking back, maybe I should have lowered my. God, I'm gonna give it a. You know what? No, I'm going to give it a 4.6.
Ooh.
Sorry, Jake.
All right. No, it's okay. Listen. I get it. You wanted more out of it. You didn't get the same experience I did, and I'm coming to terms with that. It's fine.
And I think I hated this more than that when I first saw it.
Maybe. Well, I'm glad we could bump it up a little bit. Maybe I just love Evil Dead so much, and I just love this sandbox and this world and these. I love deadites. Man, do I love deadites.
Yeah, you're like a little kid building the sandcastles.
Yeah, and I just think Lee Cronin did a better job than Fede Alvarez directorially. But no, I'm going to give Evil Dead Rise a pretty clean 7.5 out of 10. So, yeah, I'm a little lower than my initial gut reaction after watching it the other night in preparation for this podcast. I think you're right. I do think there is a bit of missed potential in the film's location. And yeah, your idea of checking out multiple floors, that could have been really cool. You could have had like just a fucking shit ton of deadites all
I know,
at once.
Jake.
That would have been pretty cool.
And I know if this man got just levels of just chaos, I imagine he would have loved the hell out of this. So.
How awesome would that have been? Yeah. And you're right. There is some plot conveniences in the movie, but hey, either way, that's where we are. All right, guys. Well, did we decide what we're doing for the next franchise?
Yeah, so I think
let the people know.
Yeah, so we're gonna do. Oh wait, I gotta pull it up. I think we're gonna do the three colors. We were kind of back and forth what we should do first, but I think we should do the three colors trilogy. Wow,
nothing like following up one of the most famous horror franchises of all time with a trilogy of French movies that nobody's heard of. But yes, Josh is correct. In the next set of episodes, which will air 2 weeks from now in November, you guys will be getting us talking about the Three Colors trilogy from director Krzysztof Kozlowski. I fucked that up.
Kozlowski, I think.
Kozlowski. Yes, yeah. Three Colors trilogy, 3 different films starring different people. It is very, I guess, Cornetto trilogy-esque in that sense, where the 3 films don't link too much together. But yeah, so we will be discussing that on the next 3 episodes. So 2 weeks from now, you'll be getting that on Tuesday. We will be talking about Three Colors Blue. On that Thursday, you will get Three Colors White. And then either Saturday or Sunday of that week, you will be getting Three Colors Red. And I'm very excited, guys. They should be some very fun, thought-provoking discussions. I know these movies have been on mine and Josh's watch list for quite a while now. I've only seen Blue, so I'm very excited to check out Red and White and complete the American flag. So we'll be doing
Blue,
that.
And I realized I wasn't in the right space to finish it, so I was just like, I'm going to watch this some other time.
It is an extremely heavy movie, so I'm very excited to revisit it. I remember really loving it, so excited to see what I get from another rewatch. So yeah, guys, check out those 3 films before the next crop of episodes in 2 weeks. But before we put out our social medias and get on out of here, I like to end every episode with a question for Josh, because I like stressing him out, and it's a lot of fun. So, Josh, what is the greatest decade for cinema?
70s.
20 seconds. Oh, 70s. You don't want to change your answer. Staying with the 70s? All right. That's his fastest one yet, folks. Damn. All right. He usually takes the full 20 to ponder.
I'm surprised Jake asked me that, because he should know I have an answer just ready for that.
I thought you were going to pull some 20s or 30s bullshit and really rub me the wrong way to close this episode out. So
maybe once I watch more films from those decades.
Not a shot. 70s rocks. For anyone wondering, that's also my answer. But All right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed us talking about all of the Evil Dead movies for the month of October, the spooky season. We're not sure if our Halloween draft episode is going to come out before or after this, so if it's already out, then definitely go check it out. And if not, then look forward to it, as it'll come out before Halloween, which is on October 31st. If you didn't notice, me and Josh have our shirts on. I got my Child's Play Chucky shirt, and he's rocking a classic George A. Romero Night of the Living Dead shirt. So hope you guys are having a great autumn/October. I hope the leaves are falling. They're changing colors. It's nice and crisp out. You go get yourself a hot coffee, a hot cocoa, whatever. Ooh.
Don't tempt me.
Yeah.
Don't tempt me.
You don't got to worry about your love handles popping out because you get to wear a sweatshirt all the time. It's
I know
great. It's great. But either way, guys, Josh is gonna let you know about our socials and where you can follow us, and then we are gonna head up on out of here.
Yeah, guys, so go ahead over to Instagram, give us a follow at Franchise Deep Dive, check out the previous posts and upcoming posts that we have out there. Like, comment, DM us for any criticisms or suggestions you got, and if you'd prefer, you can email us at franchisedeepdive@gmail.com.
Fantastic, Josh. Well, thank you again for doing this with me. Thanks to you guys for listening. I hope you guys are enjoying our video format now. So yeah, you can follow us over on my personal YouTube channel at Former Film Student. You can also check out us over on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Make sure to like us, leave a 5-star rating over there. They go crazy for that sort of stuff. You can also leave a comment over there if you so feel inclined. But other than that, we will catch you guys on the next episode for 3 Colors Blue. Goodbye.
Later.